Hi guys, welcome to this Year 9 video on equations with brackets and pronumerals on both sides. We have got to make these things shorter. My name's Darren and I am the Maths Guru, which is a bit weird really. I don't introduce myself that in any other way. We are going to look today at building on our algebra that you have been building on before. Now algebra is great, it's in absolutely everything, and if you can smash this now, you are absolutely going to smash it for the rest of your life. You are going to be rich and famous with 14 cars, 3 homes, 97 children. Actually no, hopefully not 97 children, because that would be very, very tiring. Anyway, leave that one there. Now, if you haven't already done so, can you subscribe to my YouTube channel? You have? Awesome. Oh, you haven't? Well, basically my mum, she's the only one watching. So if you can head over there, click that subscribe button, I'd be deeply, deeply grateful. It just lets me know you're watching. And yes, I know mathsguru.com is there, free to sign up with all the videos in terms of textbooks with downloadable notes, all the stuff I'm about to write is there, and so much more. And if you can let your mates know that I'm doing this, will be greatly appreciated. It'll just save my mum some hours of watching my videos. Now, what are we going to deal with? Know how to solve equations with brackets on both sides, yeah? So we've built up previously with bits and pieces of equations, and now we're going to have brackets on both sides, and hopefully you realise that this isn't that difficult. All right? Understand you need to expand the brackets first, not always, but that's a whole new discussion, and use the skills from previous lessons. Now, algebra, as I say, is so important. It's the foundation of everything. If you get this sorted now in Year 9, Year 10 is going to be a breeze. We're going to get things like quadratics and polynomials and circles and all sorts of funky stuff. And if you can actually get the algebra sorted, the rest of it is going to be really, really easy. Now, obviously, we had some basic examples before of what to do when we're trying to find the pronumerals. Yeah, when we have a multiply between, and I always call that a kissy, the 6 is times by the x. I'm going to divide both sides by 6, so I get 24 divided by 6, which gives me 4. Job done. So we're looking, and most questions, believe it or not, end up with that type of stage there, where 6x equals 24, or something similar. A number times a letter equals another number. That's what I meant. Here, you've got to know that that's a division sign. So the x is on top of the divide by 5, and so to undo it, we're going to times both sides by 5. Now the reason we do that is that gets the x on its own, but then we have to make sure we do the 4 times the 5, which gives me the 20. Addition and subtraction, you guys can probably do in your sleep. All right, b is on its own, so I need to get rid of the negative 5. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That gives me b equals 15. A lot of the students I currently teach them say, well, I can do that in my head. I know you can. That's not what we're assessing. It's not what we're looking for. We are looking for you to make sure that you can follow a process, because again, later on, it gets more challenging. And if you can follow the process, you're going to get it right every single time. Here, there's nothing in front of the a, so that's good. I'm just going to get rid of this positive 6 by taking away 6 from both sides, and a equals 4. Now, if you are still watching, awesome. We ramp up the complexity a little bit now. That was a 1-step equation. Now we move to a 2-step equation. How? Well, we basically now remember anything connected to the x, be it by a times or a divide, gets left to the very end, which means in this situation, I'm going to get rid of the negative 3. How do we do that? Well, I'm just going to add 3 to both sides. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides, which gives me x on 4 is equal to 10. Last stage, all right, back to that 1-step equation now. So when we've got the x divided by the 4, the way to get rid of the divide by 4 is to times 4 both sides. And so that gives me a 40. Thank you very much. Now in this one here, yes, they're trying to trick you. They're throwing in a bit of a curveball. Why? Because believe it or not, people make silly mistakes here. They absolutely forget that minus sign. That minus sign there belongs to the 2x. And it has to stay with the 2x. And this is 5 we're going to get rid of. Now, what is in front of the 5, even though we don't write it? It's a plus sign, absolutely. So how do I get rid of this? I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So that gives me minus 2x is equal to 12. Minus 5 is actually 7. Yep. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. And now I've got a number stuck to the x. What am I going to do? Well, I need to get rid of it by dividing both sides by negative 2. Now, it's funny, some people tell us that, oh, it's got to be positive 2 because you've got to change the minus. No, you don't. That is a minus 2, not a takeaway 2. I know it's a bit strange, maths, huh? Yeah? So when I divide that by minus 2, I get x on its own, and that becomes 7 on minus 2, which, to be honest with you, I'm just going to leave that in the way that it was, because that's basically just a top-heavy fraction. But it's normally convention to write the negative sign in front of the fraction or with a 7. We rarely write it with the 2. Not that it's wrong, it's just that we have here a convention. And now brackets. I love brackets. As I was explaining, actually funny enough to students was teaching this week, I think of brackets as prison. Yes, I know, strange, huh? I'm thinking of that x plus 3 in prison, and this 3 here is my prison guard, and I have to get rid of that prison guard. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, prison guard. Now, there's 2 ways of getting rid of the prison guard. Shifting him altogether, or actually letting him kiss the prisoners, because the kids... yeah, I know. Anyway, we can multiply out these brackets. This is certainly one way to do the question. There is another way which I'll show you in just a moment. But let's multiply out the brackets first. What do we get? Well, we know that when we multiply out brackets, what is outside the bracket multiplies absolutely everything inside the bracket. So 3 times x gives me 3x, and 3 times plus 3 is plus 9, is equal to 15. Look familiar? Well, the brackets are gone now, so I can now follow through. Is there anything stuck to that x? Yeah, a 3. Leave it alone. I'm going to move this positive 9 by subtracting 9 from both sides. So that leaves me the 3x there, because that's what I wanted. And that's going to give me 6. And now I've got my one step, which tells me I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And so x becomes equal to 2. Now that's one way of doing it. If I actually write over here 3 of x plus 3 equals 15, there's another way of doing it. Now ask yourself the question, what's between the 3 and that bracket? Yeah, a kissy kissy. Notice I stopped there as if I was actually listening to you. Yeah, anyway. Have you subscribed yet to my YouTube channel? I'm just checking. I know I'm mid-example, but if you can click that little subscribe button, as I say, it'll stop my mum watching all these videos, and it just lets me know you're watching. And I feel I have that little bit of a warm, fuzzy glow when you subscribe. I know it's weird, isn't it? So between that 3 and the bracket is a multiply, and how do I undo the multiply? I divide. So actually what I can do is I can divide both sides by 3 to get rid of that 3 there. Now, as soon as the prison guard's gone, what happens to the walls of the prison? Bye-bye, they're gone. So that becomes just x plus 3. And we know that 15 divided by 3 is in fact, yep, 5. And now we're back to a one-step equation. That seems a lot easier, doesn't it? Because now what I'm going to do is take away 3 from both sides, and that gives me 2, and ka-ching, I have the same answer. Whew, that's lucky. I was going to panic there. Now obviously there's lots of ways of doing this. Would I do the way that I've just done for this question here? Probably not, no. Why? Well, because if I try and divide by 2, I'm going to end up with a fraction, and I don't like fractions unless I have to deal with it. So I'm not going to do 11 divided by 2. It's not going to be nice. Leave it alone. And this time I'm going to multiply out my bracket. So 2 times 3x gives me 6x. 2 times negative 4 gives me negative 8. Remember, everything outside the bracket multiplies inside the bracket, gives me 11. Okay, right, the 6 and the x are stuck together. Let's get rid of the negative 8 by adding 8 to both sides. So we get 6x is equal to 19. Now I'm still going to end up with a fraction, but at least I haven't had to deal with horrible fractions throughout this question, because I'm going to divide both sides by 6, and actually that's where I'm going to leave it. Now yes, you could write that as 3 and 1/6 if you wanted to. Many times the question will say just leave it as a top-heavy fraction, yeah, because I don't know why, we just do. All right, leave it at that. All right, so brackets on both sides. Are we at brackets on both sides yet? Not yet. We're still just building up the brackets, because brackets and brackets and brackets and brackets. Now in this situation, I can't divide by 2. All right, now yes, it would be lovely, wouldn't it, if I could put 8 and the 2 divided by each other. But unfortunately, that negative 4 there, well, negative 4x throws a bit of a spanner in the works. I can't do that. It's only when the brackets are equal to the number. If there's something else stuck to it, I can't do it. So in this situation, there's only one thing I can do, and that is multiply out the bracket. So I'm going to do 2 times x, which is 2x, 2 times plus 3, which is plus 6, minus the 4x equals 8. Now, because I've got x's on both sides, I can collect like terms. So I can do my 2x minus my 4x, which gives me minus 2x, plus 6 is equal to 8. What am I going to do now? Well, the minus 2 and the x are stuck together. Leave them alone. Let's get rid of the plus 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. So minus 2x is equal to 2. And now I'm going to divide both sides by -2. So what happens here? Well, again, whenever I teach my kids to do this, I say, look at the numbers first. What is 2 divided by 2? Well, anything divided by itself is a whole one, is like 1. And I've got a positive on the top and a negative on the bottom. And if you remember, the rules are a positive and a negative become a positive, and a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive become a negative. So in this situation, that would give me -1. Are you guns at this? We're still not at brackets on both sides. When will we get to brackets on both sides? Right, we're back to this letters and numbers thing. All right, which side has the most letters on it? Well, 5 x's are certainly bigger than 3 x's. So I'm going to do my letters there and my numbers there. Right, okay, so let's take away 3 x's from both sides, because I want the 3 x's gone from there. So 5 x's minus 3 x's gives me 2 x's. Minus 2 is there, and don't forget that that is -4, right? That minus sign is really important. And when people make mistakes with this stuff, I can guarantee you it's always the minus sign. So if you think you've made a mistake at any point, just have a look. Just turn around and go, oh, I'm going to look at my signs. If you can't find it straight away, rub out the question, start again. I guarantee you'll probably get it the second time round. You're like, what? Did he say rub it out? I'm like, yeah, I know. Anyway, so what do I want now? So I've got a -2 on the wrong side. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. That's leaving me the 2x on that side. -4 plus 2 is -2. And I'm now back to my 1 step. So x becomes equal to -2 divided by 2. Right, 2 divided by 2 is 1. I've got a negative and a positive, which gives me a negative, and ka-ching, exits -1 again. Oh, finally, praise be. We got brackets on either side. What do? It's no different from what we've been doing before. Believe it or not, we are now just going to multiply out the brackets on both sides. Just adding 1 step each time to my working out. So do you see now? It's not about doing this in your head. It's pointless trying to do it in your head. There are stages. And this is still the relatively easy stuff. It gets much harder in year 10, but if you can smash this, you will smash it all. All right, so let's multiply this one out. 3 times 2x and 3 times plus 4. So we get 6x plus 12 is equal to 8 times x is 8x. So 8 times x and 8 times plus 1 is 8. Oh, look at that. We got letters on both sides. So in this situation, I'm going to put letters on that side and numbers on that side. Do you know why? Yep. Because you've got 8 x's on one side, which is bigger than the 6 x's. So I'm going to take away my 6 x's from that side. It's just going to leave me 12. That's going to give me 2x plus 8, all right? Because I've taken away 6x there. 8x, take away 6x is 2x, right? So now let's get rid of the plus 8 by subtracting 8 from both sides. It leaves me 4 is equal to 2x. So now we do 4 divided by 2, which is x, because we're going to get rid of that 2 by dividing both sides by 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now we can write 2 equals x, there's nothing wrong with that, but the convention is normally that we write x equals 2. So you just swap those 2 around. Does this look even more complicated? Yes, it might look complicated, but it's exactly the same thing, believe it or not. Now we just keep multiplying up the brackets. It's going to make life so much easier. So here we go. 2 times x. 2 times plus 1 is plus 2. Now be very careful here, because that's -3. So we now think of this as -3 times x, which is -3x. And this one here is the one that gets people every single time, because it's -3 times -2. Well, we know that 3 times 2 is 6, and we know that a negative and a negative is a positive, so that actually becomes +6. Wow! Now what I'm going to do now is going to collect like terms to see what happens. I've got 2 x's, and I've got -3 x's, which gives me -x. I've got +2 and +6, which gives me +8, is equal to 8, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take away 8 from both sides, which gives me -x is equal to 0. Now, bearing in mind that that -x is exactly the same as -1 times x, we're now going to do 0 divided by -1. And if you remember anything about maths, 0 divided by anything is always going to be 0. Congratulations. So x equals 0, and that is a funky question. Now, language is going to confuse you. Having done all of that, there are going to be times we're going to give you worded questions. Yes, now why do we give you worded questions? Because Barry is evil, everyone is evil. Anyway, if you can deconstruct the English, you're fine. And sadly, the people who find maths the most challenging are the ones who find English challenging. I know it sucks for a maths teacher to say you should read, But don't read books, believe it or not. Don't read Harry Potter if you've got no interest in it. One of the best things you can do is read a magazine of your choice. And no, I'm not talking about those type of magazines. I'm talking about things like computer magazines or, I don't know, fishing magazines or car magazines, because they tend to use quite a lot of technical English. And if your technical English gets better, then you will get better, funny enough, at maths. Weird, huh? So go and read stuff that you really enjoy reading, and you're going to get better at maths. So here we go. The question here says using x for the unknown number. Right, so we're going to be using x for an unknown. Write down an equation and then solve it to find the number. All right. The product. Now the first thing to notice is the word product means time. So we're going to multiply two things together. The product of 2, so we've got the product of 2 and 3 more than a number. Now that bit there is the bit that tricks absolutely everybody, because what it means is we're going to multiply by a set of brackets x plus 3, because that mathematically is how we say 3 more than a number. So if I said to you what's 3 more than 5, you'd say 8. What's 3 more than 10, you'd say 13, because what you're doing is you're taking the 3 and adding it on to what I'm giving you. The word is in maths is equals, and there we go. So a product, so there's my times, of 2 and 3 more than number is 7. Can I now solve this? I should going to multiply up my brackets. 2x plus 6 is equal to 7. Take away 6 from both sides. 2x is equal to 1. And divide both sides by 2 gives me x equals a half. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, I am done this probably feelingly long video. Hopefully you found it useful. If not, I'm sorry, I'm trying my best. If you can, subscribe to my YouTube channel, thank you very much. Head over to Maths Guru, it's free. Let your friends know that there is this video and resources online to help. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe.